Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Reasonable Contractor podcast. I am your host, Ryan Templin, the Reasonable Tech Dad, and we're back after a long hiatus. We took a couple months off, did some transitioning, do some project management now, and one of our all-time favorites is back, Michael Fafinski with Gutter Galaxy. A new background, nice logo back there, sir. That stuff's classy. I like it a lot.
Thank you.
So give the people an update, man. What's going on with Gutter Galaxy?
Some big updates. I think it was December last time we talked. So that's been about 6 months. That podcast was a lot about the homeowner division. But we've since really cut that, really minimized it. And now we're focusing on our B2B relationships. And I'm in the middle of a quarterly strategy reassessment. So a lot of fun stuff with that and changing the business around. And then most importantly, the AI stuff I've been getting into, the Obsidian, everything like that. I have been on Claude, the $200 a month plan, nonstop.
Maxing it out? You've been hitting the limits on 200?
Oh, yeah.
Boy. That's no small feat. That's no small feat, maxing out the 200 plan. Because when I first started doing 200, I was maxing it out for a little bit when I was writing a lot of code and I was letting them agents do in layers. But I ended up scaling back to the 100 after you're not doing heavy stuff. How are you maxing out the 200? What kind of stuff are you doing?
Well, it changes week to week, but I've been setting up my vault quite a bit and restructuring it. The biggest thing, I would think in like frameworks and concepts. So I utilize a lot of like books for that, whether that's Alex Hermosi, Gino Wickman, Jim Collins, stuff like that. So I didn't want my AI to have like very basic knowledge when I came to it with like a strategy issue. So I built like my CEO or my CRO, Chief Revenue Officer, and all down the line. And
do you do different vaults for each of those, or do you keep those in one vault?
One vault, different projects. And then I train each one of those models on like the specific concepts that I want it to. So it does like the research of what it should have for content based on like what I do. And then I can confirm or add books or whatever. And then I digest all of those books. So it takes the PDF, digests it, then pulls out the frameworks. And so that whenever I go like, what does the CRO think of this? It can pull up like the 1-page marketing plan. And then I go, okay, let's do this and figure this out. So it's using real concepts, not just some generic stuff.
Can I double click on that? So when you say projects, I think of like individual projects in the Claude interface, right? And
yeah.
Those are isolated context collections. And when you say Vault and Obsidian, so for like second brain, for if people, anybody listening to this AI thing, maybe not, but the second brain concept came from Karpathy, right?
Yep.
Andre Karpathy. And the Obsidian craze was all about the fact that you could make every piece of context Markdown, which is what the LLMs like. That make it's just, and if you don't know what Markdown is, it's a notepad file that used to be TXT, and Markdown it's straight text, and that's what the LLMs are built on. That's what the transformer architecture is. The reason I ask about when you say you broke your positions into projects, can you explain that to me? So in my second brain, I use Obsidian and I have top level directories. Is that what you're talking about in projects? And then when you said you train a model, walk me through that.
Yeah. So, I mean, the real thing about this that makes it so amazing is that every person's vault is drastically different. And you get to customize it to exactly what you want. And so, but that's also why it's so confusing, because everybody's talking about their personal experience with it. And then you start doing it and you're like, what the hell do I do?
That's not what he was talking about. Yeah.
And so then you really just got to like dive in and then figure out along the way. When I say projects, I have like, I organize it. 01 is updates. So that's like, it'll look at my emails, anything that I need to look at for that day. Put a markdown file in that folder. That's like relevant information. And then 02 projects is my different folders that I have the CRO in, the CEO in, and also other stuff like my squirrel cage. So whenever I have business ideas or any little ideas on my vault, I can just say, take this to the squirrel cage, it'll organize it, put it in the right spot. I can find it later, but then I don't have to like start building it out, because that's going to take me an hour, and then
The
I've
rabbit
not
holes.
gotten any work done.
Yes.
And then you go down and I have like 04 reviews and maintenance, 05 people, 06 concepts, and so on. And, you know, it doesn't really make sense to other people what's in there, but to me, that all, you know, I know what's in there.
So those are your projects are still just file folders.
Yes,
With
they're just folders
and markdown files.
Yep.
Got
Then
it.
each folder has a lens, I call it, which is the CEO's lens on this. So it loads the lens, and then it can go, okay, what would the perspective of the CEO that's trained on these different books have on this? And then it knows, okay, what concepts to pull in, what books to pull in from that. And then you said training the model. That for me, I created a skill called concept ingest. So it does the research for me of what concepts, what books, what articles, what videos should be brought in for this. And that part you really need to coach it along. It's not going to do it all for you. You need to give it the right context and
Takes tons
pull
of
what you
time.
know. Yeah, it does.
But it's so worth it.
Yes. And then once I say, okay, here's the research done, and then I go on to the next step of ingesting it, it'll take the books as a PDF, ingest it using Markdown, which is a plugin or a skill, you could call it, from GitHub that changes the PDF into Markdown files so that it's not super token heavy, because reading a PDF is super token heavy. Then it has the raw book. And then from there, it'll digest it into like just the core concepts. And then from there, it'll take that one markdown file of the entire book that's called the digest and then move it into separate frameworks. So I can say, hey, I'm setting my my EOS rocks, my traction rocks for the quarter, pull in that concept and let's start working on it. And then it doesn't load in the entire book. It just loads in like that specific concept within the book. So it's super token efficient, and I'm not spending out the hazooza on tokens.
So at the end of the day, what you're left with is a distilled paragraph of text that is in your CEO
Yeah.
folder that when it goes to reference that project, as you call it, it's still just a file folder, but it is text that outlines, it's basically the first chunk of text that's digested when that task is executed. Correct? Am I thinking about
And
it
then
correctly?
it knows where to go.
And everything. That's the nice part about the Vault in Obsidian is the wiki links and the graphs. People look at that and they're like, what in the hell? And they should say that because, yeah, it's super overwhelming and you'll never know until, like you said, you got to dig in. And I'll tell you right now, mine with the last couple months being the way it has, busy and chaotic, mine's a mess. Mine's a mess. Like I've literally been bolting new pieces on because I know that I can just talk to it and go and build a new piece for it. So I've got these chunks and mine are laid out the same way. I number them too.
Yeah.
My numbering is actually only because I like them to be in a certain sequence so that I can user review when I'm talking about certain pieces. So I like them in a certain sequence. That was the only reason I numbered them myself. Why did you number yours? Is that part of your
keep
link?
track of it.
Got it. Fair.
I just was like, where is everything in my vault?
Yes.
And then there's actually a plugin inside of Obsidian called Iconize. And you can put an icon in front of each folder. And that was like, oh my God. All right. Now I can actually like visually see it and find it.
I spent 2, maybe 3 hours one night shopping for the right, what is it? Do they call it layouts in the library there? So that I got the right color and because how you look at Obsidian the original way sucks. There's there's no lines, there's no hierarchy, there's no dots, there's no hyphens. I can't handle that. I cannot handle that.
I try to show somebody it and they're just like, this is a foreign, like this is code. Like what is happening?
Exactly right. Yeah. Yep. Just not on the geek level, man. So you use a skill to build your concepts out and then your markdown is ready. And what's really nice about that, if anybody wants a simplified version, take away all the geek talk where we've, discussed. What's nice about spending the time to build the structure that we've talked about is that once you're there, I use Claude Code still for the interface, but you can, as long as you have a voice dictation tool on your computer, you can now go into Claude Code and you can talk to it like a person. And you can ask it about those pieces, and all you have to do is talk to it like another employee, and it knows where to go. And it gets you the information, and it can actually do work, which is the amazing piece.
Insane. Like it just the abilities of it, especially if you own a business, is just 10x because it has all of the content and context that you would need, not just like the general context that a normal that you normally get inside of Claude in just its memory.
Couldn't agree more. And you could never have a person to cover the range that your programmed AI does with a Vault, the second brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you build those skills you're talking about, you can, like, so for me, one of my key folders on number 2, because if you've heard of the concept of like an AI OS, obviously, like an operating system, building your whole business or your whole whatever into an AI operating system. So mine's called Codsworth because I'm a Fallout geek. I like the butler robot. It's got the British vibes and it puts a little British Fallout swag on there for me. And I've been thinking about avatars, the AI avatars, if I could get it graphic so that it's the floating guy with the hands and the saws and all that. And now it's construction, so it'd have tools on. But
that's funny.
One of my top directories in my Vault is OS. And what I've done, what's one of my favorites, is a lot of media tools. You can build skills. So once you build those Claude skills, you can use those by voice. So it was interesting when you were talking about PDF to Markdown. What I realized is that a lot of the command line tools for changing video formats, changing audio formats, PDF to text, generating a PDF from something that like when an LLM puts out a piece of information that you want to turn into a PDF, there's skills for that. And once your skills are built, and I tell it, hey, look in the OS, look in the Codsworth, look in your OS, so that basically I don't remember all the media tools. There's like 15 of them. But this is the task I need. Go look in the OS for it, and it'll find the skill. I don't even have to remember the name of the skill. Once I build the skill, I can tell it what I'm trying to do, and it'll run the skill just on me telling it what I need, which is unreal.
And the beauty is that the Claude Markdown file that it takes in on every chat can direct it to those.
Correct.
So and that's the thing is, the Vault just becomes a directory of go to here for more information, and you don't have to actually feed your Claude.markdown file with all of that information that you're trying to jam pack in there so it understands you. It can just drill down and down and down farther. And yeah. What are some of the tools that you've been using mostly?
I'm strictly in Claude Code. I just use Claude Code. When you say tools, you're talking about the skills, or which interface am I interacting with?
Skills, MCP servers, connectors, plugins, anything like that?
So I haven't really gotten into a lot of the plugins and connectors because I've been so hardcore in the code side of things, is that I was building so much of my infrastructure 2 years ago in Markdown that I had, until the second brain concept came around, I was actually ahead of the Carpathy wave because somebody told me about Obsidian. I don't remember exactly. Oh, you know where it was? I don't know if we talked about this, but I'm in a group. He's actually from Minnesota, but he's gotten kind of big. His name's Cole Maydeen, and he has a big YouTube channel that's grown quickly. And 2 years ago, he's a former software engineer, and he had something he called the Dynamis community. And Dynamis community is hardcore agent coding, like at its from the language. Like we're building lang graphs, agents from scratch kind of stuff, node structure, writing the code. So I've been doing that since way back. And he was the first one to bring up Obsidian. He had us building second brains. And then like 6 weeks later, Andre Carpathy came out with the second brain X post. And I told him, like, Cole, did he just steal your swag? Like, dude, did he just follow your YouTube video and make himself more famous off of your idea? Because we had already started building Obsidian vaults in that coding community.
Wow.
And Cole's a rock star, dude. Like, shout out Cole. I'll probably send him a link of this. Cause he talks, I've told him we message from time to time on there, and he told him about the podcast and that kind of stuff. But yeah, he's a rock star, dude. So I've never got into plugins because I've
Okay.
had so much Markdown structure from the beginning. So way back when I was trying to build apps, I was trying to do second brain in my code repos. I had my architecture folder that would lay out, the PRD for the coding project.
Yep.
It would tell it the front end stack. It would tell it the back end tech stack. And every time I was prompting Cursor, one of the coding agents, I would tell it, hey, we're working on a front end design piece. Go look at my front end design Markdown, and then make sure you look at my tech stack. I would have to tell it specifically which 6 files to look at. But I spent so much time building that back-end structure that ever since then, all these ideas have just made it easier. I've just been able to delete pieces of my system because now they've been packaging it. You know what I mean? To where we're
And the
at
most
now.
important part is how you organize it. Like, you can't do this without truly understanding how to be an architect in Obsidian or in these different files. Because yeah, the AI can recommend things, but like it's not always right. And you got to be really smart so that you know where it is, but then also that the AI can find it and it can index and just like the architecture stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, dude.
You had a head start. I'm jealous. I got into this like
It was pure, like us prosec architecture geeks. Like it used to drive me insane how much the coding agents would get off track. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let me you would just build more and more documents and more documents and more and more. Like, I had the suit every coding project I started, I started copying chunks of it in because it would start duplicating, right? Like if I was
Wow.
using Next.js and if I was using a backend technology like Python for I'm blanking on the agent structure right now, but it's a Python backend language. But you would basically bring in those Markdown documents where it would just know. And it's been cool. And anybody listening, when he says architect, he's not talking about software architecture, because that architect, now you apply it to whatever you are building. There's marketing architects, there's construction architects, there are whatever field or industry, wherever you're trying to get work done, the architect, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're talking about is building the ideas that allow you to think the way you think, because the AIs can't do that. People are so scared of the AI as itself, but it's amazingly dumb still. Still, it's amazingly dumb if you don't build that architecture for what you're doing.
Not Fable, I guess, though. It's too smart.
Do you think there's more politics at play, or do you think that was really dangerous with the cybersecurity stuff?
Well, I just read something on X about how I think it was NASA said that it hacked into like all of their sensitive information within hours, not a day. Like, and obviously they're using it to try to break it, right? It's like they're in safe hands doing that. But if that's true,
Terrifying.
then terrifying. But also, like, they have Mythos without the safeguards. Like, with the safeguards, theoretically, it can't happen. I don't know. Some people say it's just mismanagement of the government agency, like how Anthropic was just not communicating well with them. Other people say it's a whole marketing ploy that Anthropic wanted this to happen right before the IPO so that they have the best model ever. I don't know. I don't care. I just want Fable, man.
Do you really? To me, the models, like, I just actually the other night went back to 4.6 because I was getting frustrated with how long 4.8 was taking. I was like, Opus taking too damn long. I know this is simple shit. I know you can do this. You used to be able to do this. I switched back to 4.6 on the million contacts. I'm like,
When you're
just go
running
faster.
six different chats at once, then it's fine. All right. Just going back and forth. I'm like, what did it even do the last chat?
You know what? I feel like, what do you think the next model is going to do for you that 4.8 or 4.6 can't do right now? Are there use cases where you think that you're limited by the model? I feel like I haven't had that in a long time. I used to run into that a lot. It used to really matter to me on code. Now code, I trust any of the across the board.
Well, there's just one prompt I've been using that's been a lifesaver for me. It's check your work, look for any mistakes or issues, and look for any potential improvements. and it always finds something. It always finds something. So that tells me that the model could be better, right?
Fair.
But also, I think I actually never got to use Fable because I was like, I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm gonna like get my normal work done. I think it came out on like a Wednesday. I was gonna play with it
I
on
left it alone.
Friday,
I had it.
and then I never
I
got to
downloaded
use
it and
it.
left it on 4.8. My Claude code updated, and I had it. And I'm like, I don't need that for nothing. Like I run it, and then later that day I'm like, wait, what? No, no.
But I mean, honestly, I think Sonnet to Opus is night and day. Like truly, it is completely a different model, a different person, a different platform I'm talking with. And so like I can't imagine what what Fable would
Fable
be.
is.
And I think really the best part about it is like I would want it to review my vault, see where I can improve, and you know, some higher level strategic stuff. You know, even just to start off the planning mode and then for acting run to Opus. But yeah, I want it. I want it bad.
As I listen to you talk, there are times. I mean, a lot of my applications, I just have simple stuff. But you're right. When
It still
4.8 came
agrees
out,
with you.
it's
You
4.8
know,
is clean. It's cleaner than 4.6
yeah.
was. 4.6 or Sonnet, I had to watch. You know what I mean? I had to watch it. I wasn't as comfortable running 6 at a time. 4.8, it was better. It was better, and it communicated clear. It was able to really, like you're talking about, it was able to, you know, so for so long it was about making sure with all this context that you gave it narrow focus. 4.8, you're able to give it very broad
Yeah.
focus, and it
Yeah.
understands as long as you have a vault, it's able to pull out the pieces it needs, and it narrows on its own. I feel like.
I agree. And then also, you were saying you were ahead of the game with Obsidian. I had not used Claude Code before jumping into Obsidian. So maybe 2.5 months ago, I had never used Claude Code. And then I just was like, oh my God, like this is
Changes
insanely
everything.
better. And then I
Changes
just
everything.
spent like 20 hours a week, like every week, just in it.
If you have used AI and then you have not used Claude Code, I only went through that because I was on a Windows machine that was aging. It was like a 5-year-old Windows machine until December of last year. And then I got a new MacBook Pro. I got an M4. And then I was able to run Claude Code. And that, dude, I was a kid. I was so happy. Everything was, I had an old MacBook.
And you as a coder, like you knew about it. You knew the strength. You wanted it.
I did want it, and I just didn't want to do the Mac update. I tried really hard to run Claude Code, and then because you knew for most of last year they weren't building anything for Windows first. Like even Anthropic only had a Mac app for the longest. And so I was sitting with my Windows machine. I was still using Windsurf and fucking Cursor Cursor was cool, but it was still on its way up. But once I got Claude Code, it changed everything. Is that what you're using now? Do you work strictly in Claude Code, or have you switched to Cowork? You started dabbling with Cowork and browsers yet?
I skipped right past Cowork and went right into Code. And like, I feel like I have all the capabilities of Cowork just in code. I just got to get like a plugin for it. And I don't really use Cowork. No.
Cowork is
simpler, but
I think Cowork is Anthropic's attempt to make it mainstream. Yeah. I think that they're really trying to find your more average user. It simplifies things, especially the way you're able to, everything is about, I actually hate it. I hate it. It's clunky. But what I haven't tried inside Claude Code, and I probably should, is finding a skill or a plugin to do browser, because that's what I've really been tempted to do. I gave Claude Cowork last week. I tried to let it put my Target grocery shopping list together.
Oh, really?
Because I had Markdown all built around it and my eating schedule and shopping for my kids and all that. I tried to let Cowork do the browser piece because it connects to Brave, and it ran up. I gave it 25 minutes and it used $35 in credits. And
Jeez.
And it only put 12 of 19 items in the cart because in Cowork it takes pictures of each screen before it clicks. It like scans, it takes 5 pictures
Yep.
and then puts the pictures together and looks at them, and I'm just watching the token meter fill on my usage screen. I'm like, I
That's
wanted
why
to
I
give it a
hate the
shake, and
Claude
I'm
and
like, nope,
Chrome.
no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so do you use Firecrawl at all?
I've dabbled with it. I've dabbled with it for scraping to do. I've tried to build people's websites as a mock-up
Okay.
to compare them for a new site I made. Like, look at this is your old site, and then I use that old site to build the new one because it's just simpler when
Okay.
you have all the data, and it's more like modifying their structure versus creating something new. What are you using it for?
A lot of scraping. That's definitely a primary, but I'm curious even if like you could kind of have it use Claude and Chrome and then also Firecrawl. I've heard about Playwright. I haven't really dove into that
Me
much.
either. I've heard
And then
Playwright's really good for browser stuff.
yeah, and then I know there's one more that I heard that just like is better than Playwright because like Playwright is more specific for coding usage,
Yep.
I think. And then there's one that's released I have not used yet, but I did download. But supposedly there's better one for just search, which
Appify? Is
I
it Appify?
no, because that'd be like a Firecrawl similar, I think.
Yeah, exactly right.
So it's different than that. Yeah.
Just can't remember the name right now. That's all
No,
good.
I can't. But if you looked it up, what's better than Playwright, it'll probably come up.
What are you doing all your scraping for? Is it work stuff or more of you building your framework stuff?
A lot of it's the framework, like scraping and doing the research for me. There's this one skill called last 30 days where it looks at like Instagram and X and all that stuff. So like when I built out my Alex Harmozy persona, I really like his philosophy. I'm a
Same.
big fan of him.
Same.
So I had it search his X, which he posts a lot on. And then it could get some more of that granular stuff, not just like his books,
Yeah.
right? But a lot of scraping too, getting leads. I also couple it with Apollo's MCP server,
Mhm.
so I can get that. But I feel like you kind of need both. Like people are saying it's like replacing Apollo, but like I no, I think just using the scraping with Apollo then makes it like really good. Just using one, you're still having gaps.
Anytime, so I don't like to do that. Like when you're on X, you can say certain words you want to eliminate.
Mm.
Like you can give it phrases where if a post has this phrase in it, don't show me it.
Oh, I didn't
And
know that.
and one that drives me insane is it's over. You know what I mean? So heavily used, or it's over for Apollo. It's over for this. And after 3 years, like for a while, for the first year, I used to be like, yeah, shit, they're right. That shit's fucked. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah,
shit's dead in the
yeah.
water. Yeah. Nope, nope, nope.
It's just the hype. And like, I mean, obviously, like, I feel like you start on a lot of those influencers, you learn from like the people hyping this stuff up. And then I just start like cutting those people out and going to people who are actually giving high level information, not like this next plugin is wiping out this entire company. It's like, no, like,
It's so wide open. It's so new, and it's going to be like not. I don't want to use like any other market because it is a transformational technology.
yeah,
But the people that make prognostications, in my mind, are just full of shit. Like no, you just can't know because the think about the amount of work that we can get done as your average Joe. Like obviously we're ahead of the game in AI, but like we're nothing to these companies comparatively,
yeah,
right? The coding loops that they have, the agents that they have built. Windsurf's supposed to be dead, and then they got acquired, bought by OpenAI. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like the acquisitions, and it's a you cannot say anything's dead. So like when people are like this replaces that, this is gonna die, and this is where we're gonna be. It's like okay, whatever, because this is where we're at right now, and in the next month it's gonna change, and the next tomorrow it's gonna change, and it's
I
fun.
will say for the startups though, it's like, it's so competitive because your entire startup could be just toppled over by a feature update in one software, right? It's like Apollo adds one thing and now your entire software is dead.
Your business.
And
They said that
yeah,
2 years ago that was going to happen. You will get consumed by the model companies.
yeah. And that's a little scary. It's like, how do you come up with a new idea in this market and launch something and when these mammoths are here, it can just be like, oh, we'll just add that.
And they do. It's like a push of a
Yeah.
button, dude.
Yeah.
Balls of steel. Balls of steel is the only way, because you got to go out there and you
It's
got to
true.
grab the cash. And like some of these people, the stories, it's crazy. The amount of money you can grab, like OpenClaw. OpenClaw is a great example of what we're talking about. Like, oh, OpenClaw's going to do this and Claude's going to kill it. OpenClaw's still standing. Hermes still standing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well, it's open source, so like it's always going to have its place in the market for people who want to be able to go, oh, like with the Obsidian stuff we're talking about, we can switch to Codex or wherever we want to go. We don't have to stay with Claude. So if Claude IPOs and they decide, hey, we're gonna screw all these people and charge them 2 times as much, you can take your AI OS that you created and just uproot it and bring it to another model.
I think that's a super important part, because anybody that was listening that glazed over the Obsidian piece, Obsidian is very important. It's very, well, it doesn't have to be Obsidian. Once you learn what it is, you actually can just go create folders on your Mac or on your window. Just start creating folders. And that's all it is. It's just a folder directory. But what it does is it does protect you. It does protect you from, it gives you the portability to change when the tech changes. And I think Obsidian's brought me a lot of peace, and my second brain has brought me a lot of peace that it's portable. Because everybody was saying that Anthropic was going to take over the enterprise game and they were so far ahead in coding, but Codex is made. Have you gone to Codex? I haven't even used Codex.
I haven't once. I've just stayed in Claude because I've been like, I don't want to mess around with.
It took me so long to learn Claude. I'm like, I'm not near. I'm sitting here talking about how portability is important, but I'm stuck right now. I'm fucking
we haven't
stuck.
touched anything else.
Nope. So I'm just over here contradicting myself. Don't mind me.
I think that Claude almost made it so we've it tied into our usage in Obsidian. I'm guessing where it actually, when you're using it in in Obsidian, it's taking from your token session hours or your windows, and they almost made it so that those had to come from API keys.
Yeah, they did it for like they did it for like a week, and then they backtracked.
Yeah, and then they went right back like, no wait, people were leaving, people didn't want us.
People are pissed.
And I was happy about that.
Agreed. Same. Anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, when OpenClaw, so if you're not familiar, OpenClaw was an open source kind of Claude code type of thing, but more advanced. It gave you could basically you let agents go free a little bit. You could tell it what to do and it would autonomously keep trying things without you having to prompt it individually each time. And everybody loved it because it was open source. It wasn't controlled by anybody. And Anthropic didn't like that. They didn't like that. So because what people were doing is they were taking their OpenClaw and they were running it with their Anthropic membership, their subscription. So if you paid for like this bulk plan, like we talk about, the $100, $200, you could run OpenClaw with that. And Anthropic's like, no. And they tried to put the kibosh on it, and everybody rioted and revolted. And they were like, okay, we were just kidding. You guys go ahead, use it on your membership. It's cool. And I think they just sent out another email like a week ago saying that, yeah, never worry about that. You don't have to do API. You can use your subscription on whatever. It's basically what I took it as. I don't know what you saw, but
it's truly funny because I think there's genuine pull that the community has. Like, and Anthropic listens. Like, there are the X and the Reddit like loop rabbit holes that they start bitching about something that Claude does
and
or
the
that
fire
OpenAI
burns
does.
And it grows.
Yes, and then they're like, "Oh crap!" And then they reverse, and it's
the
like you actually
come
have
out.
Power.
It's cool. I think it's important.
Yeah,
I think it's very important because early on, I loved Sam Altman 3 years ago. Loved him. Now I hate him. Well, that's a strong word. Hate. I don't know if it's hate. But he was, we're for the people and we're making sure that this is proliferating across the board. And over time, the only guy that's told the fucking truth is the guy that's always told the truth, and it's fucking Elon and Grok. And I love that Grok has, made them bow and kiss the ring, and, Anthropic's coming to him for usage now and compute. But I wish Grok, have you tried? I've been dabbling. Grok they have a code. It's not Claude code, but they're starting down that road. It's in beta.
But it wasn't Cursor. What did they buy? What's the other major code platform? God, I use it. I should know it.
I thought
it's Cursor.
I was
But
going to say, I thought he did buy Cursor. It was Cursor. I
okay,
thought.
then it was
They
Cursor.
did buy
Okay.
Cursor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they bought Cursor, and I think that is like really like they were really behind on a lot of their models. But then once they bought Cursor, then it got really good for coding, I think.
See, I think that their models, Grok, because I'm an Elon nut, and I've been on
Okay.
his team from the beginning. Their models were fine. His models were always excellent because he's taken the radical truth, the same thing he applied to X, and he's put that into the models. If you
He'll
talk
let you
to
do
Grok,
whatever you want.
well, I've tested Grok up and down, like, because I'm a big radical truth seeker, and a lot of my prompts are built that way. Like
Do you use the love mode?
What's that?
The love mode?
I have not dabbled with his modes. I don't use his UI at all. No, it's I try to stay just in my projects. I say I don't use his UI, but that's the old Ray Dalio from Ray Dalio's principle book, Radical Truth Seeking. And I've built that into my prompts for all these years, and Elon has always gone that route. And I think his models were always good, but he never built the interface, because Claude Code is why Anthropic got ahead, right?
100%.
And OpenAI got the early jump on everybody because they had ChatGPT, an interface that people could use. Grok and X never made an interface for you to use their models. That's where they were way behind in, is they didn't have any way to interact with their models. Because once in a while they would do a Grok update, and Cursor would let you put in the API keys to use your Grok, and that thing would code like a rock star, even though it was behind, but you could tell that it was good. So anyway, yeah, I just got off on a tangent there, but to finish the thought on why I think the open source and the revolution, why that's important, I guess I was talking about Sam Altman and how I liked him in the beginning, and I really liked Anthropic and Dario initially because I really believed him when he said that they were about safety, right? And over time, he's like every other CEO; they get consumed by the board members and the money. And I do believe, with the stuff that I've listened to, that a lot of their fear mongering and their announcements, even with the DoD stuff, have been about market capture and regulation capture, because they are taking the old corporate strategy of, if you can get the politicians on your side, you can push out the little guys. And I think that what's nice about the open source and the nature of our world right now is that those fires you were talking about and the revolutions that push those guys back is the only way we keep them from doing that. You know what I mean?
And I know Anthropic released something after they controlled the use cases of Fable and Mythos. Basically, they got some backlash on that, and their response was, "Hey, we want to have control because we think that other people aren't to be trusted with this model, this information, more than us." Like,
well said.
And honestly, like, partly what they said was, we are God, we are AI God, and we want to be the only player because we are the only people that are going to use this safely. And you can argue that that's moral in some sense, because I think they kind of believe that, but also the other side, it's like, okay, so you want to be AI God, like, that's a little scary. And if you're
the one.
power,
where's the humility? You're the one. You think you're the only one. The rest of us are too fucking stupid. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's scary,
but it's true. It's like, you do need to control it. Like, if they were just releasing it to anybody, like, that's scary too. So there's this middle ground. I don't think there's not a good answer, but I don't know. I mean, I kind of trust Anthropic. I kind of don't. I'm
in the same boat.
I'm just using the one that has the best model right now.
I'm in the same boat. On that line, I'd really like to get your insight. What do you think about the privacy piece? Do you just let it all fly? I'm kind of Jesus take the wheel at this point, man.
I'm not good. I mean, it has my API keys. It's got everything, but I'm in the process of building my CTO. And then inside of my CTO, there's security regulations, so that for the future, I'm going to be able to say like, scan my vault, help me with security, or like, hey, I'm building this skill. Let's make sure to use the best practices for security on this. And then I'll get better. But right now I've not been
You
good.
let that bitch fly, don't you? Fucking take.
Yeah.
Check it out, Claude. Tell me what you need. I'll give it to you. You let it read all your API keys, and do you ever get into like ENV files? Have you gotten that deep in your coding stuff?
ENV files, what's that?
So your ENV is where you keep your API keys in a code base, like inside of a repository and inside of a vault really at this point.
Okay.
So when you make like a code base, if it needs to call Appify, if it needs to, anytime you wanted to call a model inside of a code repo, you would have to put your AP. It's just it makes your code more efficient so that you don't have to keep repeating your API. You put if you need 5 different APIs for an app to work, you put the APIs in a .env, and that env stays local. You don't push that to your GitHub repo when you commit. And then basically you're taking a code variable and you're plugging that in every time. And the theory behind the code for a while was that if you keep env files away from the model, you're not sending your API keys to the model.
Yeah. I primarily keep it away from it. There was one, I used Claude. It's like an audio recorder, transcriber, and they didn't have like a native API key to use. So I had to like hop into the back end of like their website, grab it, and then put it inside. So for that, I was like, all right, there's no other way. Like, I'm not going to figure this out like manually. So then I let it have it. But like my QuickBooks, like, no, I'm not giving it like access to that one. So.
Sure. That's fair. I was in a repo. It was my brain. I don't need to sit here and play like I played it safe anymore. I used to try to do a lot of that stuff. And, it was telling me the other day because I gave it a rule to not look at my ENV file. And it told me, well, even if I did look at your ENV file, I wouldn't ingest the key. I'm like,
even if I did.
I'm like, I'm way too far down this road at this
you
point.
On that.
I'm just, whatever I've put in here. The only thing that really gets me weary and the only thing I really protect at this point is my kids' names and kind of personal stuff around that. I like to build family schedule stuff and family meal plan stuff. And I like it. I like that it can reference that when I try to lay out schedules for work tasks. So I talk about ages. Unfortunately, they can probably still tie it to me one way or another, but I try to protect them as much as I possibly can. But what are you going to do? We're down this road at this point, I feel like, with a lot of it. And a lot of people look at that idea and they're like, how could you? But my answer is, how could you not at this point, for a lot of it.
Mine has my deepest insecurities. So like, I
couldn't agree more.
It literally has a file on like me and my personal stuff. And
but how important is that to get in your reels? How impactful is that to when you get stuff done, right? Like it
really is.
It gets so dialed in on how it helps you. I don't see any other way than to give it that information.
It will tell me like you are doing this because of your tendency to do this, and like just start doing this framework. And I'm like, holy crap! Like it knows. It knows too much, but like then I use it and then I can get the work done.
I'm glad you're in the same boat. I was wondering about that because I know how process driven you are. One thing my vault knows about me, and I'm so grateful that it knows this about me, is it's something I've labeled as the engineer trap. And it's something that when I get a new idea or I'm trying to get something done, I want to build something around it so that it's streamlined. And it's caught me and it saved me from hours of building, days of building, where I could just simplify and validate the idea first. Validate that this is going to be useful before I build the thing around it. Because I used to spend crazy tokens building things to get ideas that were not validated, right? Versus just bringing it to a customer.
Man. That's a great idea.
And tell it, I think it understands what that term means, engineer trap. Tell it that you have a tendency to build things before you validate. And it's just saved me so much time. It's caught me so many times to say, Ryan, you're going down the engineer trap right now. I need you to I think it's helped me be a better human in the loop. Because when I talk
Mm.
about business stuff, a lot of validation, if I'm going to try to sell something or if I'm going to build an AI product for a lot of this construction stuff I do, I'll have this idea. And what I've learned is that I don't need to build the process. What I need to do is I need to clarify my ideas in a simple way with the AI. And then I need to go talk to some people that don't do AI. And then they need to be in the field to tell me whether the idea is worth a shit.
Mm.
And if they tell me it's worth a shit, then I can come back and get the validation. Now we can build because somebody else has told me that knows more than me that it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll get
And when
into
you
that brain and build it out and be like, oh, this is going to be great. And then bring it to somebody and they're like, that's shit.
and when you talk about human in the loop too, like I catch myself, it's like sometimes I am terrible. I'm just relying on it entirely to make decisions. And then like I'm in a different mood and I'm like, oh, I'm firing on all cylinders because I'm making the decisions and I'm orchestrating. But like there's times where I just start relying on it too much and then I'm reading every little thing and I'm like, no, I can go through this because I know what I need to do. And then I know I'm like, I've been on here too long. If I start like not telling it what to do and start asking it too much for its advice, then I'm like, all right, I need to take a break. I
And
need to
then I
walk.
think you're onto something really important. What's your like when you get done with those modes where you're not making the decisions, how good is that at the end? Like what you've been trying to build or what you've been trying to put together, in my experience, is not good.
I, f- I feel like it's not as good, but mostly it just takes so much more time because I do ask things in the way that it will give me the genuine opinion. And then eventually I come around to like what I think is best. But then I have to go through more prompting and more reading. And I'm reading this entire thing, multiple prompts, when I could have just said, hey, do this because
Yeah,
that's what I know is best.
super well
And then
said.
I just confused myself. But
Correct.
I think at the end of the day, the quality is probably pretty relatively the same.
That's a good point. That is a good point. There's a lot of times where I'm in that mode where I'm letting it do a lot and I'm over prompting and I'm kind of letting it, when you let it build the context, it's like, oh
Mm.
shit, now I got 3 more pages. But one way I've looked at it is that I wouldn't have gotten shit done in that mode anyway. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would have been sitting here fried and I would have got nothing done anyway. So
Hmm.
it carried me a little bit there and I'm all right with that.
And you said the like context in itself, and I was right now, like I said, I'm in the middle of my strategy review for quarter 3, and I almost told it load in whatever context you feel like is needed for this,
I've done that.
and then I was like, oh wait, dude, this is my strategy. This is my entire business,
That's
like
the
for the
way to do
next
it. This
three
motion right
months.
here.
Yeah. Like you're just gonna let it do whatever. Like it's not there yet. Like so then I backed it up and I said, do not add anything without my approval. I want you to suggest things, but not add and specifically look at these 4 files or folders or whatever. And I do want you to use these. And then now I'm like, all right, this is going to be a way better strategy creation because it's not bringing in context that's not needed. Because I know my vault and I know what's needed. I know it's not.
Yes. I kill a large number of sessions where this term I heard, I don't remember exactly who I heard it from. I think Andrew NG maybe, context pollution.
Yeah.
If you start getting down that path where you start asking it that exact thing, go get whatever you think is best or grab whatever you think you need from this, piece. And I really watch context a lot. I really watch the context window. Like when they started doing the 1 million context, I still didn't let it
Hmm.
get past a 250,000 because if if you let it think about too many things at once, it really starts to sway and waver and bring too much
Hmm.
bullshit into what you're working on now. It's still very important, even with big context windows, to keep your sessions focused, I think.
And the beauty about being an Obsidian with it is you could just build that out in that folder that you have. Like I have project templates, or I call like AI project templates is a different one where it's like building out something for my vault, right? And so there's a template of like a status, a plan, specs, design. And so then I can just say, all right, I'm about to delete this chat, put whatever context you feel like is needed for this next, task that we are doing in the project, and then it updates everything. I load in a new window, and it's back to 20% context, and it's performing well. And
That
that's the beauty of Obsidian.
That's probably the key point. I think anybody listening, we have gone on some really super geeky tangents, and I know there's people that are like, "What the fuck are these guys talking about?" If there's
Only computer
anything,
science people are going to be able to understand
like,
this point.
dude. Well, I don't even know that. I think the only way to get
Yeah.
where we've gotten is to spend a lot of time with the models. Because
Mhm.
and if anybody that I had a friend text me today, he's like, "Dude, I've been getting into the AI stuff, and I'm so far behind." I'm like, "You have no idea how far ahead you are." People that think they're behind. When you get into AI, it's the first thing you're going to start feeling is that you're behind, and you're not. There's still people, I would say 95% of people still use these things to check the weather, and they use it like Google search. And if there's one big takeaway from this podcast, anybody listening, please understand that learning about Obsidian and learning how to build your vault and your second brain, that is a crucial, crucial skill right now. I would very much, and what's nice about it is that you don't have to know any of what we know. You can ask it. Ask it how to use the vault, ask it how to build it, and ask it to keep it simple. Don't let your vault turn into something that you don't understand. Because
Mhm.
if you keep your vault inside, like you have a feel for it, then it is a super, super powerful tool that keeps you above water. And I think it keeps you caught up. I don't know how I could, before I went to take out the garbage and I was walking down the hallway here in the apartment, getting ready to do this. And I'm like, one thing I got to tell him is that you can tell me how you feel, but I don't know if I could go back. I don't know if all this shit blows up. I don't know. I don't know how I'd
I
get
can't
work
go
done
back
again.
to normal work. Like,
Writing in a notebook and
yeah,
keeping my
no.
ideas like I used to and having notebooks and like, files and books, like books not in PDF. How did you find all those Hermosi books? All those books? I'm like, find him. Look at you. He's like, oh, I
It's not like
mean,
the
I
most
found a
legal.
place or two with the back alley, the digital back alley. Those PDFs are critical though, because I
Yeah.
have mountains, and I mean, in my storage unit, I've got 4 totes of books, and I'm like, if there's not a PDF available, when I did this store and I started doing the project management thing, I had an old estimating class from the lumberyard that I took, and it was 5 chapters of table span or like span calculations, and I ripped 2 weeks ago. I sat down on a Sunday night for 3 hours and I pulled out my scanner and I scanned, no shit, 500 pages and made it a PDF to put it in my vault. And it is now one of the most powerful parts of my vault. I would not have been able to do this new project manager stuff had I not put that PDF into what I'm doing.
I one time had to go. So I bought a book called Top Gradings for hiring, and I had to go 2 pages at a time, and because there's like a certain amount you can copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste, and then you hit your limit for like the day, and then the next day you come back and you copy
What
and you
page was I
paste
on?
and copy and paste, and I did that for like 2 hours. But I was like, I know that like I need this in vertical or in virtual, or else it's not going to happen. I can't train my system on it.
No,
And
I
I'm also going to push back on your organization of Obsidian,
please do. Please do.
because so I think it's important to keep it organized, but I think it's more important just to jump in and do it, because it was about 2 weeks ago where before I had my trained like CEO and all this stuff, I did not understand my vault on a high enough level, but it was still insanely useful. And then I revamped it, and it's just a constant revamp. So it's like, it's okay if it's not fully structured, because you're not going to be able to make it perfect off the first week. And it's just every week, just figuring out how to improve it and what folders to add and to delete and to make simple and all that stuff. So like, yes, keep it organized, but also it's like, it's just having it is like 90% of the battle.
I think that's a much better way to say it. I stand corrected for sure. I was just trying to help. I felt like we got so far
Yeah,
down the road. I was trying to help people,
we
like,
did.
don't get overwhelmed, but you're right. Just do it like anything else. Just tear in
Hmm.
and let it, and keep talking to it. Tell it what you need. Tell it where it's not working. Tell it what you don't like, and it'll help you fix it. And you're right. It's right. It's never going to be perfect. My vault's not perfect. My vault is not the way I would like it right now. But so that's a
Hey,
good point.
another night of me building stuff in there, and it might be 1% closer to perfect. All right, that's what I keep telling myself.
And I would happily spend so many nights like that if I could. Oh, my
I do have a
happy
question for
place.
you though.
Fire away.
When do you think that the non-technical user is going to be able to utilize AI the same way that we are now?
I think that's a long way out. I think it's a really long way out. I think that there's I'm probably the wrong person to ask, right? Because I go back like we were just talking about with co-work, right? That's a built for your average Joe. And me and you, I want to throw up when I use a low for me writing all the code I've wrote and going back and using like a no code tool or the stuff that is built for mainstream, I can't. I'm like, this is it just I feel like my hands are tied. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask. I don't know. I don't know when they're gonna do that. I know it's hard. I know it's a super hard problem to solve. And that doesn't mean it's unsolvable, but I think more than anything, the only way that we're going to get there, and it's mandatory, is that people got to stop being scared of it, man. Have you ever looked at the numbers of polls on how people in this country feel about AI versus like China?
I got a feeling, but I have not.
People in China, because I mean, now anybody can argue that communist countries are brainwashed to a certain point, right? They're limited on what they can see and what they say, but they feel optimistic about what it's going to do for their culture as a whole. And I think one of the surveys, because the All In podcast, you listen to those guys once in a while too, right? Haven't you? All In podcast? Have we talked about that?
I don't think I've listened to them at all.
They're a venture group that 4 venture guys that I like them because they have very different opinions and they bring it out on the table. And they talk about geopolitics and economy. It's cool because I think that they bring different views and they argue cleanly about it. And they brought one of these poll things in that said people think better of ICE as a country than they do of AI. And that's saying something, right? About in our country in particular, that's like, oof. And until we can go back to the CEOs things and when we were talking about market capture and how I feel about Sam Altman and Dario and how our trust levels have changed for him and Elon and how people think about Elon. It makes me sick because if you've read his book and you've ever listened to anything that's came out of his mouth, he has never changed in 2 decades. He's never changed. He has always been about open truth and open transparency. You know, he's still a CEO. He still has IPOs to sell. He still has a business to run. So there's times where he's touting his business card, but by and large, he keeps humanity in the front of his mind and what's good for the whole. And I
truly believe that. Like and you could argue that, hey, I disagree with some of those ways that he's doing it, but I truly believe he's acting selflessly in the sense of humanity, not for his own monetary pleasure. I mean, I think sometimes that might happen, but like, I mean,
comparatively to the rest, it's not close.
Yeah, not close. And he doesn't buy stuff like that. Like,
no, dude, we could go down the long list of sleeping on people's couches and selling his stuff. And like, he lost his oldest kid who went through the transgender thing. He said that really shook him to his core. He sold a bunch of property because that child told him that he was disowning him as a parent. And he's like, okay, well, then I'll get rid of it all if that'll bring you back, just to show how parents think about their kids, right? And how important a kid's love is to them and their acceptance. He got rid of a bunch of shit, like massive millions of dollars worth of stuff to try to get his kid back, and he still never got him back, which is sad. But just to finish,
I don't think he's the best father figure to look up to, but
no, absolutely not. And I don't know. I try to be a good dad, and I don't know if I am at times either. So the judgment's not coming from me. I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
But to answer you, to just wrap up on your question, and I'd love for you to add more on what you think. But when are mainstream people going to start using AI like we are? I think it has to happen because it's important and I think it's useful. I think at the end of the day, it's a good technology because any technology that improves our productivity helps us increase the size of the pie, which is what capitalism is about. That is how we've killed poverty across the globe. That's how we have made the country that we have, where things are so abundant. It's because technology increases productivity. And I don't think that we're going to get there until the messaging and the media stop destroying it and scaring people. Everything we were talking about with it's so over and this there's just, and it's unfortunate because the media is incentivized to get clicks, which is always through fear and bad things. There's there's a lot of people out there that are trying to preach the optimism, but it just gets drowned out. And I think humans, by their nature, are not optimists, right? Most people we're biologically programmed over how many millennia to find the bad so that we stay alive.
Hmm.
Until people start thinking that AI is a good thing, we're not going to get there.
I think it's hard because you got to watch what's the in the vault for context. And I don't know how a non-technical user could truly trim and keep only what's important in there. Um, and I talk to even business owners at times where they're looking for more of a white glove solution to insert it into their business. But truly, what it is just building documentation for AI over time. And I have no idea how you would do that with a non-technical user. Like, I mean, maybe the model could get really good at, well, I don't, because everybody's life is so different and what information they want in there is so personalized. So I think we're at least 5 years out to there's a software or some wrapper or something that you can just talk to it in your car or on your phone or whatever that is going to get a good enough idea and be able to really be productive from it. But I think unless you're a technical user, you're never going to truly be able to utilize the full capabilities.
I think you bring up a really good point that triggered a thought while I was listening to you, but I think the voice, having something that people can talk to, and that's really good, that taking the conversation and talking to people in a way that they understand or that they can help clear up their vault until we
Hmm.
have a voice system. And this idea just came to me while you were talking. People learn in different ways. I think that's pretty well documented. The only way, when you said trim your vault, that's for somebody who likes to read, like us, right? People
Hmm.
that like to read book, and
I
I think
hate
it's,
reading though.
do you really? That's surprising to hear, being the
That's the
process in
only
the book.
part that I don't like about this, about
Interesting.
the Obsidian Vault.
Because I think about learning types a lot with my kids, because I'm
Mm.
really deep in trying to figure out how to prepare
Yeah.
my kids for what's happening. And that's a whole nother fucking episode we could do. Um, I think that it's important to understand that people learn in different ways. And I think that's well documented. Like musical types, artistic types don't do books and logical thought. There's different brain styles out there and we're wired
Hmm.
different. And LLMs are 100% text. Um, LaCoon is his last name. The old guy, he used to be the head of AI at Meta. And I liked it.
Okay.
He kind of fell off the map for a while, but for a very long time, I really liked him because he kept telling people for like 2 years after ChatGPT came out that LLMs are not the answer. And I think that they've came a long way, but I think that he's still right in that it's not going to uh, it's not going to proliferate across our population because not everybody is wired to take in text and talk in words and think in text and write, and it's just written language is what LLMs do.
Do you think there could be a wrapper that makes it usable for those people
I
in
hope so.
visuals and and voice and stuff like that?
My optimistic side that thinks that there's super smart people out there that think like we do, and I hope they figure it out because it's important.
I don't think we're far from that. Like, I think I was talking to a buddy about this, but I think all that's needed is a wrapper that is so like whisper flow. Like, I mean, I know you use that.
Yep.
Nobody that is in code doesn't use it.
And
And then Speechify, right? And those are broken systems in some sense where I need to copy the text and then hotkey and then it talks to me. And then whisper flow is I can just tell it stuff. But if you put a wrapper on top of it where I can take my voice and text, understand when I'm like, scratch that, or understand when I'm saying, I'm pausing. And then there's a command to end the voice, and it can control multiple context windows. I think that's all that's needed. Like, open up context window 1. Where are we at with that? And then it tells me, and then I can go, okay, context window 2. What do we need to free you up on so you can keep going? And so, I don't think we're too far. I mean, I don't know that it'd be that hard. there's a software called Hey Clicky that I've been experimenting with. It takes control of your entire computer. And it's not the best currently, but maybe I got to get the pro version and figure it out.
What do you mean
But
takes
I think it's
control
the
of your whole
beginning.
computer?
So I can do a hotkey on my keyboard, and then it puts an agent off in the corner. It could be like, go to the Google Docs, find this, and then make it into a PDF for me and put it in my downloads folder. And then it'll go put it in the corner of my computer screen, and then the next one will go right under it. I can have multiple of these agents running at once. Honestly, it fails a lot still, so it's not like perfected by any means. But if I could have it just be in my Obsidian vault and click between um, different chat windows and then give me an update of what's happening in there. Like that's all that I need. And so I think that'd still be clunky, but I don't think we're too far away. Like I'd
I
say
hope
like
you're right.
6 months.
I hope you're right.
And at that point, that's Jarvis. Like if you can say, open up this context window, start this, and then it notifies you that another window is completed. Like that's Tony Stark at that point.
And I think you asked the right question, and when you asked me how long until the non-technical user is in, because we need them in. We need the collective. We need those people that don't think like you and I do to make it work for everybody. And that's until it works for everybody. It's cool for me and you, but that's not what we want. Going back to the open source idea, we want it to be for everybody. You know what I mean? It has to be. Otherwise, you're going to have isolation and groups of power that pin other people down and that kind of stuff. That's not America. That's not freedom. If everybody doesn't have the same tools, if we don't all have freedom of speech, what do we got?
And that's what I'm truly scared of, is really people not taking the opportunity, not understanding it, and then 20 years down the line, there's to be a poverty gap purely based on AI. And at that point, I mean, we saw a little bit of controlling who can use which models, like the government saying no foreign employees can use it, and then obviously they have to shut down the entire thing. And so controlling who can use the best models at a certain point, like if that gap gets bigger and bigger and bigger,
that's bad.
Like
that's bad.
That's a poverty gap right there. Like, and so that's what I'm scared of. I have no idea what's going to happen with there.
There's scary ideas out there. When people ask me about this, my new project gig, there's a couple of younger puppies in there, and they right away when I started doing the AI stuff, the office manager's like, I'd like generated this sheet to take out on a bid, and she goes, oh my God, she's like, you don't even know what this stuff is, and you just made this happen. I'm like, yeah.
And yeah, you don't even understand fully what this bid is.
I went on a gutter bid, gutter boy. It was a gutter bid, and I printed up the measurements and stuff that I needed and the questions I needed to ask just by asking Claude Code. And it made the PDF in such a nice format. It was like right in line. It had it in sequence of how I needed to ask it. And she goes, oh my God, AI is going to take our jobs. So I tried to, in my most soft, open-minded way, try to like tell them where I'm at on it. And the term I always bring up to those people that really resonates is the Jurassic Park line, like life finds a way. You want to, no matter what those poverty gaps happen and scary stuff, I think by and large, the optimistic side of me, oh, there goes my headphone here. The optimistic side through all of these. Have you ever looked at that? Like when the cotton gin was implemented and some of these technology, like the way people have revolted when new technology has disrupted things. People find a way. At the end of the day, we end up coming together and making it work one way or another. And there's disruption and there's messy spots, but we figure it out.
I really try to be the link for a lot of my friends to like bring them into it, because I'm at that age where like my age group should be really utilizing it, but a lot of people aren't, and they're like, I don't like AI. I'm like, I don't like it. I think it's gonna take our jobs, so I don't use it. I'm like, okay. Honestly, after you dive in for 40 hours, you understand it's not going to take the job. It's going to leverage you. Correct. And so with anybody who I like says like, I think AI is going to take our jobs, I really try to softly, like you said, kind of reframe it and be like, hey, like once you dive in, you understand it's not going to take your job. It's just going to be who's going to get hired and who's not, because who's leveraging it.
They're the kids I was talking to. I say kids, but the younger generation, they are your age. They're mid and early 20s. I brought up the cat because she was taking I let her like tell me why she was scared, and she comes from a family from the education system. And I softly brought up the point about, if you take she was bringing up specific details, and I let her talk about it. And I said, if you take a step back and if you look at how the rest of the world does, how is the U.S. education system comparatively, right? Is it pretty good? She's like, well, no. Yeah, no, you're right. So then I went on the example of, because I asked them how much long division they did as a kid. And I tried to bring up the calculator thing, because that's what they said in the 60s was like, calculator is going to make us all stupid, right? People aren't going to know how to do math anymore because we have calculators. It's like, no, there's still people that do pretty good with math. Like, so the conversation ended up in a right spot. They've let me use my tools without talking that way. So whether I got across or they just don't want to talk about it, who knows? But,
like, can we just get this guy to shut up?
Right, exactly. And I did tell him, I'm like, because I was talking about my kids, and I think that softened her up a little bit. I'm like, you guys are the generation that's had to take the lump of it. Like when you talk to your friends and the people that hate it, you guys and the people that are, 18 to 30, you guys are going to determine how my kids get there, because you guys are going to teach them, right? Who are they going to learn from? They're going to watch you guys. And however things land by the way you guys handle it is going to be how my kids, that's what they're going to take in. It's intense, man. It's intense.
I've already known, like, my kids, I first got to get a wife or a girlfriend first and find
baby
love.
steps.
I'm still working on that, but it's not going well, but it's going, all right?
My vault girlfriend.
There's a specific file that after,
that one's got a lock
5
on it.
p.m. I go into it.
That's good. What do you think about it? What do you think about the kids, your kids?
They're going to get a full, like, they're not learning from their school about AI. Like, by the time they're like 12 years old, they're going to be more proficient than like people in the field. Like, they're going to be technical users. These, why the hell not? Like, if you train them the right way, then they're using it as leverage, not as to not think. So like, I'm going to help them build something that can do their homework for them. Like, that's not going to be a popular opinion, but like, if they can build something to do their homework from them, but then I also make sure they're not being lazy with it, but they're actually getting better homework at the end or a better product at the end of the day, I'm fine with that.
And they're the one thinking through the build. Yeah. And so,
exactly.
Gosh, like I said, we go down this. We're already over an hour. So, I do want to. So how would you do that? How would you think you do that? Because I have let Claude do a little research for me. And they say my kids are 7 and 4, and they say at that young of an age, you should really just let them kind of see how it works, but don't let them get too far into the weeds with it, is the simplest way I can describe it. So I don't know when I start letting them build. I think at 7, I should start. I've seen some videos of kids coding, and making simple apps. And I've seen some really cool stuff on X where you can make apps that allow them to learn instruments faster. To sit on a keyboard and have it teach piano. That's the piece that I'm so intrigued with is they say it can revolutionize where every kid has a tutor. That's what Jensen's been talking about for the longest, is that think about a world where every kid has a teacher that is infinitely patient and completely understands the kid and teaches them how they want to learn. Going back to what we were talking about and getting it mainstream, right? Not everybody thinks the same way. So I think it's very important that kids learn their way. And I think that I'm very optimistic, and I'm trying to figure out how to build something like that for my kids, that they have that personal tutor. Because I'm being honest, I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to teach my kids the way probably that they should learn the best. So I'm trying to find a better way to do it.
And I think that starts with building stuff for them, telling them how to use it, and then they can use the tutor. Like, I mean, they don't need to build it themselves the first shot, but if they have a specific issue, it's like, let's pull in this book and then train them on this. And he's like, hey, you can start just asking questions and see what it has to say and learn from it.
Yeah.
And then
Grok has a kid mode I've let them play with a little bit that's pretty fun, where they just do animals and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You got to make it fun for them.
Exactly
I think,
right.
Building apps, building little stuff for like maybe their Minecraft world or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really important to like, hey, encourage them on projects like that, but obviously they don't care about Alex Hermosi's $100 million leads. Like
They should.
they should.
They should.
My kids will. All right. At 8 years old, my kids get trained on Alex Hermosi's $100 million leads.
Oh, dude. Have you gotten into money models?
I have got into it a little bit. Nothing crazy yet. Honestly, it's a little discouraging. My business model, I feel like, doesn't allow for some of the concepts that he's saying in there because it is much larger. It's truly like $100 million money models, in my opinion. So there's some aspects I'm going to take from it, but
I pre-ordered a copy because I'm a fanboy and I haven't opened it.
Oh,
I don't want to go down that far yet. I pre-ordered this. I just watched him set the Guinness World Record and all that.
Oceanofpdf.com.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. I'm like, damn, I got this hard copy. Sit that till the day I sit down and scan those 500 pages. Like.
Yeah. I still will buy a book though. I put it on the shelf. Like if I'm using a framework or I'm like actually utilizing it, I'm like, I can put this on my bookshelf and brag about it.
Support the author. Support the author.
Yes, exactly.
That's how I've been with Elon. Like I don't use Grok, but I'm going to pay the subscription because I support Elon. All right, man, we should wrap it up. We'll go all night, dude. This was amazing, dude. Thank you so much for coming on, as always. I don't know.
Thanks for having me.
If we had any process to this or if we have any good lessons besides go learn Obsidian. Go ask your AI. Start using it, people. Start using the AI. Just tear in, like he said. 40 hours, you could do that in a month by just sitting down with the weekend. I've seen some good X posts like, rather than watching a Netflix tonight, spend 2 hours watching this tutorial. And just talk to it. Just ask it questions. Just be curious. Just be curious. And if you don't like typing, find one of these voice apps. Aqua Voice is a great dictation tool I've used. Super accurate. It builds kind of how you talk. So it picks up more of your lingo and it's easy to talk into after times. So what else you got for the people, man?
I'd say if you genuinely enjoy learning, if you're a person that enjoys learning, setting this up is going to allow for rapid learning in other topics, but also in AI, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. So if you genuinely enjoy learning, 50% of people, I think, are going to genuinely enjoy doing this and setting it up. The other 50% probably won't.
And I'll add on that and say, even if you think you don't like learning, you might like learning if you use AI. It's amazingly easy to learn with AI. Like, as someone who enjoys learning, I feel like I'm just learning faster. I can learn more than I used to be able to learn. So if you don't like learning, see if you can learn with AI just by talking to it. Just be curious, see how it goes. So, Michael, always a pleasure, dude. We'll talk again soon. Appreciate everybody listening out there. Talk to you guys later.
I'm going to talk to my AI girlfriend.
Oh, boy, yeah. No more lonely. Fix that for the world next. Later, everybody.